I've studied now a number of communities that have been transformed by immigration, by rural industrialization and immigration, now in several states and 2 countries. And you know, what I've learned and what I think is encouraging is that Americans are generally a hospitable people, and and if they get to know newcomers as individuals, they will reach out to them and try to provide a welcoming environment. And the communities that I've studied, these micropolitan communities in the 10 to 20,000, 30,000 range, are small communities, and so people bump into each other. They get to know each other at the workplace. They get to know each other in schools. They see each other on the streets, and so they learn to they get to know newcomers. With this big influx of workers, you might think that locals are going to be concerned about losing jobs. Anybody can work in a meat plant if you want to, and you pass the urine test and are able to do the job. The economy of Southwest Kansas is dependent upon the meat industry, agriculture, feed yards, meat packing. And so people in Southwest Kansas recognize that the newcomers who are coming to work in the beef plants and now in the dairies, there are a number of dairies that have come to Southwest Kansas, and in the feed yards, they recognize that the work they do is hard, that it's necessary for their economy, and they also recognize that people left their homes because the situation at home became intolerable for economic or political or reasons, and that they went to great sacrifice and went through great hardship to come to this new place, and that they recognize that the work they do is hard, that it's necessary, and that people are coming to work. They're not coming to sponge off the welfare system, and they admire that. Kansans admire hard workers. They admire people that pick themselves up by the bootstraps, to use that cliche, and so they see them in the workplace. Newcomers and established residents interact in a few arenas: the workplace, schools, and another place that they come in contact with each other is in restaurants. And so Americans may be conservative about many things, but they're very adventuresome about eating. And so and they will try new foods, and so if you go to Garden City or Liberal or Dodge, you'll find a wonderful array of ethnic restaurants: Vietnamese, Thai, Salvadoran, Mexican. There are beginning to be some Somali restaurants, and of course American. And people come into those venues to try new foods, and they meet their people who are waiting on them. They see their neighbors who are also coming, who might be Mexicans or Vietnamese or Salvadorans, and the venues are small enough that they begin to interact with one another. There are also a variety of markets, bakeries, other kinds of stores where people will sample new cultural traditions, new foods, and new foodways. There are also a variety of festivals. Garden City has the longest running Mexican fiesta celebrating Mexican Independence Day, 16th of September, as the longest running one in the state. It also has a Tet, a Vietnamese New Year celebration. It has Beef Empire Days, which celebrates the beef industry. And people come together in those places. They don't always talk to each other, although they may, but they see each other. They see each other as neighbors, as people who share the same space, but also the same aspirations as they do. And so established residents in places like Garden City, for many of them, their ancestors not that long ago also came as immigrants. And they And so they are predisposed, I think, to positive attitudes toward new immigrants. And I think stories about those migration experiences that put a personal face on the lives of the immigrants that are in our midst are exceedingly valuable.